Welcome to the second episode. We're already recording.
Oh, okay.
Hey guys, and welcome to the second episode of J and EJ Live. I am your beautiful co-host, EJ.
And focus on the J. I am your second co-host, Jay. The J of EJ Live.
Well, I could have a J in my name too, so it's
Well,
like,
it'll be J and EM Live in a minute. So
it will be
Be
J
quiet.
and EM. Oh my gosh, I have to get ready to change my last name.
Yeah.
I've been ernestine.johnson my whole life.
You better milk this EJ thing for all it's worth for 132 more days.
So in 133 more days, are we going to change it to J and EJ Live to J and EM Live? That doesn't even sound cool.
I don't know, fam.
What do you guys think? Should I change it to J and EM Live? EM, Ernestine Morrison.
We just call it JM.
Jim.
I don't know, fam.
All right, guys. So, babe, it's been a really crazy week in the media.
Hold on. Let's tell them about you want to tell them a little bit more about the theme of our podcast? Or they're going to just find out from just us doing the show?
Oh, they're going to find out from us doing the show.
Okay, fine. Go. All right.
It's J and EJ Live. It's live. We just live. We out here. Whatever's live, whatever's going on live for the day, for the week, we out here.
All right. Well, we're covering trending topics. We're covering news. We're covering our thoughts, opinions, and all things J and EJ. Go.
It's an introspective take on love, relationships, and community, and trending topics of the week.
See, I just asked if she wanted to do that. She said no. Then she wants to. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Go ahead, baby.
I have to. Just Pisces.
It's your show, honey. You're a revolutionary.
I am a revolutionary. So, babe, look. So just tell me what's going on. What's going on this week?
For me, what's going on this week is I have, as my company know and as you know, I've put myself on a travel ban this week.
You did. Put
This month, excuse me.
You did put yourself on a travel.
So there's been no traveling. It's the first month in years that I have not traveled and will not travel unless there's some extreme emergency. And so I put myself on a permanent or purposeful travel ban so I can focus as a CEO on, the several companies that I run. And it's been very effective. So I'm excited. I'm pumped up, excited for the show. I've also been wearing this same outfit for the last 5 days.
Every day for the last 5 days, I have seen this hoodie.
Yeah, it's trap gear.
Oh, hey, babe. Oh, hey.
What?
Hi. No, I didn't know you were sitting there. You look so good today.
Thank you, honey.
Your sweater that you've been having on for the last 5 days straight.
When you trapping, you need an outfit. You need a go-to.
That's a trap outfit?
Yeah, you need a go-to outfit.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
hey. And what better one to wear than 1,000 Men March? At
Yeah,
least it's purposeful.
1,000 Men March hoodie, the
Black
same black jeans. I changed my socks, drawers, and t-shirt, and we out of here.
But have you washed the hoodie, though?
No. You don't wash your trap hoodie.
I don't know. Let me tell you guys.
You wash your trap hoodie, that defeats the whole purpose of a trap hoodie.
I don't know. That doesn't sound like good hygiene, babe. I don't know.
That's why you wear a t-shirt underneath to catch the...
Let me tell you guys a little secret. I'm going to let you guys in a little secret on me and Jay. When Jay and I first met, I called my best friend, and I was like, best friend. Jay would never take a shower at my house. He would always leave and go back home and take a shower. Like, he would sleep over my house and then go back to his house to take a shower. So I never seen him take a shower at my house.
She thought I was dirty.
I was like, best friend, I don't know how his hygiene is. I never see him take a shower. Like, he just dips. He just dips out.
I didn't like your bathroom.
What? I had a nice bathroom.
You had a girly bathroom. I want to shower in my man shower.
First of all, your shower, you have nothing in it. Like, no decor.
I don't need decor. I need soap and a washcloth.
All right, so listen. I want to get into what is going on in the world this week. So we went and saw Wrinkle in Time. Wrinkle in Time, shout out to Ava DuVernay, Queen Ava DuVernay, and Queen Oprah.
So, yeah, last night we
went to go see a Wrinkle in Time.
Well, I treated everyone to the movies.
Jay treated myself and our daughter, Anna, to A Wrinkle in Time. So we went to go see A Wrinkle in Time. And I was like, oh my gosh, A Wrinkle in Time is probably about to be sold out. Let's hurry up and get our tickets. It's opening night. So I literally went on Fandango, and I'm like praying we can get some tickets. And the whole freaking movie theater, besides four seats, were just completely available and open. And I'm like, why is this movie not sold out? Why are we not supporting this movie the way we supported Black Panther? We got a black woman. It's an Ava DuVernay film in conjunction with Disney. It's a black writer, black director, starring Oprah. Why did we not go rally to the theaters like we did for Black Panther?
I said the marketing. I mean, I think the Black Panther marketing, they turned it into a movement. They used the whole theme dress-up thing as a way to get people, their momentum, their emotions kind of infused into the film. And
Right.
they made Black Panther more of a movement than a movie.
Right.
And Wrinkle in Time didn't do a good job of that from a marketing perspective.
But I don't know what your thoughts on the movie, but I really appreciated Wrinkle in Time. You didn't like it?
Babe, you fell asleep the second half of the movie. I'm talking about.
It doesn't matter.
Hold on. Time's out.
Time's out.
Knocked out in the chair.
I was.
To the point where I'm going like this. I'm waving my hand in front of her eyes, and Anna and I looking at each other.
I watched the first 45 minutes of the movie, fell asleep, and then woke up for the end. I woke up right on time. So I got the gist of the movie. I got the message, and I thought it was really good messaging in the movie.
The writing was good. The messaging was awesome, especially for young
elevated.
women. Yeah.
I felt motivated. I felt like
you felt rested.
I was rested, very well rested. But I really, honestly, seriously, I felt like it really helped me, and it should anyone who watch it tap into just what frequency means, into what frequencies you should be operating out of. And it was a very key point when the dark cloud came, and she said something like, when the dark cloud comes or something, it pretty much it gets everybody off track.
Right,
because you're focused on the negative,
right.
You're focused on the dark.
Focus on the light when you see the dark.
Focus on the light when you see the dark. That's what they said. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, wow, even if I fell asleep during the rest of the movie, that one thing alone was just like, focus on the light.
There were gems. There were gems.
You and I talk about this all the time because we have so much things going on that sometimes we forget to focus on all the positive. Well, we have a lot of positive things going on, but we forget to embrace and immerse ourselves in the positive because we have so much going on. But that movie really made me like, wow, you know what, let me sit back and just really appreciate the frequencies around me, the positive, the light.
Yeah. And
I'm just so shocked that the theater was empty.
Yeah, what I loved about it was, having two daughters, there were a lot of messaging to support self-confidence, embracing your flaws, understanding your worth.
Yep.
And honestly, it was more of a family movie than Black Panther was. It was certainly less of an action movie, and so there were two different kind of movies as well.
It's a whole different type of feel.
Yeah, whole different kind of film. But it was excellent, I would say. I think every family should definitely go see it, and those who want to support and just get some good messaging.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And even just for people without families, like I think it's just a good self movie, like just self-work movie, like just learning how to focus on the light, stay away from the dark, and operate at your highest frequency. That's what I took from it.
Yeah, it was a little Disney-ish, but it was good.
Yeah, Disney made a check this month, this quarter. Black Panther, Wrinkle in Time. Right. So I'm not mad at Disney.
We need a Black Disney.
We do. Disney. Who wants to invest in helping us open the Disney network?
we need our films back. We need our films back, fam.
Buy back the block. Buy back our films.
Facts.
All right, listen. So I want to get into fact or fiction.
All right.
Speaking of A Wrinkle in Time, for those of you who may not know, it was originally a book. It's based off a book by Madeleine I don't know how to say her last name, so pardon me. It's Madeleine L'Engle, I believe. Mm-hmm. So fact or fiction, she was denied 26 times a publishing deal.
Fiction.
Fact.
Okay. I try to be different.
The author of this book, which A Wrinkle in Time was based off of, the novel A Wrinkle in Time, she was denied 26 times from a publishing deal. Nobody would take her.
Wow.
And that to me says resilience, just keep going, because look what it turned into.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You got a fact or fiction?
Awesome sauce. I do. Fact or fiction? You can buy a home with a 300 credit score.
Fiction.
Fact.
I thought it was 560.
What we commonly associate when we say buying homes, we typically think of buying homes through the bank. Now, with a bank, you may need a 580 credit score.
Oh.
But even with a 300 credit score, you can buy cash. You can use owner financing. You can use...
What do you mean buy cash? What does that mean?
Meaning just a house costs $70,000 and you just give them $70,000 and you own the house. You don't need your credit. You don't need your
in that sense, yeah.
Right. So you can buy a house just using your cash. You can buy a house also using owner financing. You may have an owner.
What's owner finance mean?
So we own 2 apartment buildings that we bought, and there was no credit pulls at all. So the owner has no idea what our group credit or any individual in our group our credit is, but the owner himself who owned the property said, you know what, I'll allow you guys to purchase, put a down payment down, and the rest of the mortgage, quote unquote, or the rest of what you would owe on the property, we pay the owner directly as a lender.
Oh.
So we bought actually 2 apartment buildings, 28 units with no credit check, right? So you don't need a credit score to buy a house. You need the knowledge base.
You need strategy.
Strategy, fam.
You do need strategy. You're so smart, man. My man's so smart.
Facts.
I didn't know about the owner finance, but I did know you could buy a house cash.
Yeah.
But how many people just have all the cash to buy the house?
Well, if they don't have their own cash, they can use
TBM?
the bank's money. They can use other people's money. That's another way that
Tell
you
them
can
one more
do
time, baby. Tell them what TBM means, baby.
TBM, the bank's money. And if you don't have the credit to get the bank's money, you always can create what's called a syndication or a joint venture, and you can go in with credit partners to go purchase a property using your partner's money or your syndication money. So, and that's not even also including assuming a mortgage as well as another strategy. So there's multiple ways in which you can purchase a property creatively regardless of your credit and even regardless of your cash if you are that savvy.
Wow.
Yup. Back to fiction.
Back to fiction. All right, so let's get into some do's and don'ts.
Okay. Oh, I gotta sit up straight when I go like this. See, I'm 6'3". Maybe that's why everybody thinks that I'm shorter on camera.
Because you slouch.
I mean, it's not that I slouch. It's just that
You slouch.
I'm not slouching.
I always get on him about his posture. I'm like, babe.
It just seems weird.
He's doing interviews and I'm behind the camera.
I feel like a giraffe.
I'm
so
behind the camera
air.
like, babe, sit your shoulders.
If I sit with my shoulders, and I got broad shoulders, if I sit like this, I just feel like a giraffe. But I'll sit like this.
See how much more powerful that is, though?
I don't feel like I'm more powerful, but go ahead.
He's not watching you either.
That's okay. What do y'all think? Do y'all think I feel more powerful, giraffe-ish, or do I feel more powerful? Cool. And slouched.
That is not cool. That is not cool.
Y'all tell me. Comment below.
Comment below.
Whatever.
See?
Next.
Women be knowing. All right, do's and don'ts. This is where we talk about do's and don'ts. Do's and don'ts in business and do's and don'ts in relationships. Let me see. Should I do a relationship one or a business one today?
You want to do relationship.
Yeah, no, I want to do a relationship. Okay, you know what? I have a good one this week. So, as you know, my handsome co-host here is also my fiance and my partner in power. So the other day he gets out the shower and he says, babe, do you want to get your hair out the shower?
Right. A big old clump of hair.
It was a clump of hair. You know, I comb my hair in the shower. I'm washing it. So I neatly got all my hair off the floor because I don't want it to go down the drain and clog our drain up. So I neatly got it all up and I put it in a nice little hairball and I set it. We have a counter or whatever, a bench type thing in our shower. I set it there. And my plan was to take it and put it in the trash. But I got out and oiled down and got dressed and didn't go back to get it yet. And he says, babe, can you come get your hair out the shower? Now, I feel like I did a good job by, getting it off the floor and balling it up in a nice, neat ball.
That was cool.
And rightfully so, it is half my shower. Should I be able to leave my hair in my shower that's half mine? Do's and don'ts. Get your hair out the shower, don't get your hair out the shower. I want to hear from the people.
Hey, fam, get your hair out the shower. No, it just looks weird. Oh, hair clumps.
But you have hair in the shower, too. It's just it's way shorter and less visible.
It's not there.
It's there.
It's down the drain. My hair goes down the drain.
So should I be able to leave my hair? You and your partners, your significant others out there, should you be able to leave your hair
keep it clean
in your side of the shower?
Let's keep an organized shower here.
Our shower is very organized. Stop it.
Why don't you use one of the showers in the other bedrooms that we don't use? You can have your hair there.
So I should have my own personal shower? And we do have 3 showers in our home.
Yeah.
Should I just permanently make one of the other showers mine? Well, why don't you go use one of the other showers and let me use a shower that's in our bedroom?
Nope.
I'm the queen, baby.
That's cool. Quite queen, exactly. I'm the king.
All right, do's and don'ts. Don't leave your hair in the shower, even though rightfully so, it's 50% of your shower. Don't leave your hair in the shower. Moral of the story.
Cool. Guess what I'm going to cover? My do or don't.
What is your do or don't for the day?
I'm going business with it.
Of course.
You already know.
Such a businessman.
You already know. Okay, so for our entrepreneurs, aspiring entrepreneurs, the people who are just in business, one thing that we see is what we call a lack of professionalism And there's many layers of lacks of professionalism. But one of my biggest pet peeves as a chief executive officer,
tell him, baby, tell him, CEO on him,
amongst other roles, is the excuses after, right? We call it the excuses after. So we understand that life happens. We understand you may miss deliverables. You may get super busy. You may get sick. There may be traffic, right? Your mom, unfortunately, may be ill. Who knows? Things happen, but it is so unprofessional to miss a deadline, be late for a meeting, not deliver an item, and then say, when the person asks what happened to that deliverable, what happened to that task, You're fired. You're fired. You're fired.
I was stuck in traffic.
Stop it.
Couldn't find my car keys.
Right. So if these things do happen, because trust me, we've run out the house, can't find our car keys, or
all the time.
All those kind of things. But you have to, if there's going to be an excuse or a reason, it has to come before the deadline. You can't wait till after the deadline, be quiet about it, say nothing. Because
and then after the fact.
Right, because it's unprofessional just in general, but it kills the rhythm of a business. So if I'm, for instance, there was a deadline for one of our staff that was, or for someone that was due by last Friday, right? So right now we're on Saturday, right? Right now, today is Saturday. We're doing it as we're shooting this.
Yeah, a day late and a dollar short.
Right, well, listen, it wasn't even this Friday just passed, but the Friday before that, right? Woo! So someone had a deliverable to give us the Friday before, the Friday that was yesterday. And they didn't give it to us. And I asked my staff, I said, hey, what happened to that proposal that we were looking for? They said, oh, well, he didn't get it to us yet, but I followed up with them and I'm waiting. I'm like, that's not somebody I want to work with, who had a deliverable for last Friday. You had to follow up, didn't even let you know why he missed that deliverable, and then still hasn't gotten to us by this Friday, and now it's a week later, and we're waiting in limbo. Yeah. No can do.
No professionalism there.
Don't be the excuse after person. I'm telling you, it will give you way more opportunities. You'll earn so much more respect. If things do happen, just mention them beforehand. When you make the excuse after, it's really a true excuse. You're really just inefficient at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
All right, so that's my don't do for the day.
All right, I like that one, because professionalism can take you a very long way. I remember my acting coach telling me years ago, she said, you're talented. She said, but Hollywood doesn't need another talented actress. Hollywood needs another professional actor. Be a professional in any aspect of your life. Be a professional. Show up on time. When you're not on time, communicate, and don't make excuses. It's really like a key to life.
Yeah, communication is key. And,
absolutely.
Yep. So that's just hopefully that you guys take heed. And, a lot of times I think people don't want to have the tough conversations. Right. And they try to skate through. And that's one thing I learned early on in the mortgage industry when I was a loan officer, when I used to, do people's loans. And then we'll find out that they were approved initially. Mm-hmm. And now 30 days later, they pack their bags up, box their stuff up, their family's ready to move, and then we find out their credit score dropped. And now I have to be the loan officer to call them and say, hey, what? Your loan, sorry. And that's what taught me how to deliver bad news. Mm-hmm. Most people have an issue being able to tell the bad news. And so sometimes you got to, that's all part of professionalism, is being able to pick up the phone and communicate that, hey, I'm not going to be able to make it. This is not going to happen, etc.
This is what's happening. Right.
Next, what we got?
Professionalism, communication. All right, it's time for our pull it from the gram.
Pull it
from the gram. Pull it from, oh, no, too soon?
Okay.
No?
Yeah, no.
I thought you was about to beatbox me in. No? Hey, pull it from the gram. Hey, see, baby got rhythm. See, that was his way of showing y'all he had rhythm.
I was a beatbox champion. What you talking about?
Were you, baby?
I'm an 80s baby.
All right, give us another one then. Let me
see what I got.
Stretch it out.
Let me see. I haven't beatboxed in about.
I mean, when you say words like years. When you use words like champion, and you say it was a beatbox champion,
I haven't beatboxed in about 20 years.
I'm ready.
Okay. G's smiling back there. He like, hey, let me see. I got you. I can't do it. It feels weird.
Pull it from the gram.
I'm gonna practice. I'm coming back next week, episode 3. I'm gonna beatbox. Watch
all right,
this.
I'm gonna have some lyrics. I'm gonna
All
have
right,
some
I want
bars.
some bars.
I'm gonna have some bars to meet you.
Okay, that's episode 3. I'm beatboxing. I'm practicing this week, and your bars. Let's go.
All right, pull it from the gram. What we got? What's been on the gram this week?
What's been on the gram?
Rick Ross was on the gram this week. I saw Rick Ross on the gram. He was hospitalized. It's been different.
Get well, Ross.
Get well. It's been different messages as to why or the state he's in. But I did want to say, send some prayers and some blessings his way, some good energy his way. King Rick Ross, we love you, and we are sending you some love and some positive vibes.
Yeah, what I love about Ross, as many of our superstars in hip hop, especially the more mature ones, he's evolving and he's growing.
Yeah.
And he's been talking about his health over the years. You know, he dropped weight, he's been working out, and you know, before he promoted being, you know, fat and overweight, and
right.
he promoted that and embraced it. That was part of his image, and you know, then he kind of like, oh, you know what, this is serious. I gotta really,
right.
You know, so I respect the fact that he has. Seem to be anyway from a public perspective. Been
now, do you think it's a little conflicting because he owns and promotes Wingstop though? Because if we're talking health and we're talking, hey, let's all be healthy as a people, health starts within and really starts with food, the foods that we eat. So being owners of multiple Wingstops and being a spokesperson and visibly promoting Wingstop, do you think that's a little conflicting?
If you get down to the nitty gritty of it,
yes.
However, we can own businesses, own stock, or participate in businesses that may not necessarily all the way align, you know, with our, you know, values per se. Like if you really dig down deep, there's companies that we say most of us probably, at least in our audience, and I hope most people in the world wouldn't support mass incarceration, right? Like bias policies, bias policing, and bias laws that target people to lock them up for longer sentences, right? Unnecessarily. But there are many brands that we support that have stock in, or even like Michael Jordan. People are buying Jordans all day, every day, but Jordans has stock in prisons.
In private prisons.
Right.
Or Whole Foods.
All that.
The cheese from Whole Foods is like, it's directly supported by prisons and inmates in prisons.
So that's my whole point, is that if we all got super duper technical conscious and all that, I mean, there's probably plenty of things that we do or support directly or indirectly that may contradict our values. And so, you know, that's something to be conscious of. Yeah,
absolutely. But I do want to say, speaking of us holistically taking care of ourselves and loving ourselves, it does start with our food. So I do want us to, as a people, especially black people, because I saw this meme and it was like, it was a meme and it was like a split screen, and one of the pictures, the top picture was like a funeral and all these black people mourning over this funeral and crying, and the second picture was them after the funeral. What's it called after the funeral? The repast. The repast. Mm-hmm. They were eating fried chicken and greens and whatever, soul food. They were eating soul food, and the caption said they're eating the same foods that killed him. And I was just like, whoa, that's so deep, because that's so true. Especially as a people, we have the highest blood pressure, the highest cholesterol,
diabetes,
obesity, heart disease, obesity, and it's really because of what we eat. So as a people, when we talk about health and we talk about health is wealth, and I know we all want to hashtag health is wealth, let's really be cognizant of aware of what we're putting in our body, because the smallest little things, even the M&Ms, and I love me some M&Ms, but if you really Google all the ingredients and the stuff that you eat, you'll see that we're eating a lot of stuff that shouldn't be in our bodies. True.
Speaking of health is wealth and this topic, so I hopped on a scale about a week ago.
Dun, dun, dun.
And, you know, I was kind of eating at my leisure, you know, over the last few months. Eating has been a pleasure of mine. And hopped on a scale and I was 238. And usually I'm about 222, somewhere in there. And so I started seeing a little bit of love handles on the side that Ernestine was happy to point out. And so
hey, listen, when you're someone's woman, you gotta be there to support them in their highs and their lows.
So one thing I did, is I started working out. I started getting back on my pull-up bar and on my push-ups.
You did?
Right, my jail workout. And
hilarious.
Well, it works. And I started back on my water diet where outside of my one small sweet tea and lemonade yesterday, Other than that,
and your one drink that you had at the bar last week.
That was it. So 2 drinks. Other than those 2 drinks, and Eugene made me have that drink.
He did.
Other than those 2 drinks, I've had all water for the last 2 weeks. And so just from the few days of working out and from the water diet, I'm now at 229. So I lost 9 pounds already just in my water fast. And so
it works.
Yeah, it
water.
works. So just looking, just encouraging you all, you can do small things to also increase your health as well outside of the big things. And Ernestine fakes like she's a vegan half the week or pescatarian, but she's eating chicken with me like every other day. So,
not true. I had chicken twice. I had chicken yesterday, and
I mean, it's only 7 days in a week. So.
I had chicken yesterday, and I had I made some chicken enchiladas for dinner, and I had that. But
hold on.
The majority of my diet is fish based now.
Baby, stop it.
Salmon.
Listen to this.
What are you talking
We went
about?
out to eat. We went out for our dinner date on Thursday.
Where did we go?
And she tried to get the chicken at the Tuscan place.
Oh, yeah.
She tried to get a half a chicken. And I had to make her not do it then. So, yeah, you might have only did it twice this week, but you were aiming for.
It doesn't matter. I do what I want to do. And here's another great point.
Now I do what I want to do.
I'm glad that you said that.
Said
here's
that
a
you were
great point. No, I said I never said, here's the thing. I'm not putting any boundaries on it because he likes to clock, so I'm not even doing that. No. And here's the thing.
She put her own boundaries on it, but then she wants to be able to break her boundaries.
No. This is what I do when I think realistically. So sometimes I'll set these high goals, like, okay, I'm not eating any of blah 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 blah. And then when I think about it, I'm like, okay, that's not realistic. So what I have done is now that I'm down 6 pounds because I've been running. I go on 3-mile runs, and I said, you know what, I'm cutting certain things. So like he said, we've doing all water. Besides, I had 1 drink, and within 2 weeks I had 1 drink. But other than that, we've done all water. We replaced all of our beverages with water. And then for the most part, my diet is I do a mixture of raw vegan meals by Crystal Shea Raw. I do a mixture of pescatarian meals, and then I'll do a very
whatever she wants.
No, I haven't. I haven't done desserts and I haven't.
You just had cookies last week.
Once a week, yes.
Well, you haven't done any desserts. Okay, go ahead.
No, I'm talking about as a whole. Like, you can't even talk to me about eating because you don't even know how to eat. So it's about finding
I do know how to eat.
It's about finding a balance. It's about finding a balance between each food group, right? So you can have desserts, just not every day. So me, I'm the type of person, I would love to eat desserts every day. If I can eat chocolate chip cookies every day, I would. 10 of them, 20 of them, 30 of them. But what I did was I said, okay, moderation and balance. So I cut it down to like once or twice. So I try to do once, but it may be twice. So I'll maybe do Saturdays and Sundays or whatever day I choose. I'll cut it. And I'm not even gonna tell y'all my weight, but I've lost 6 pounds in the last week and a half just by doing water and just cutting back and doing more things in moderation. So like Jay said, there are small things you can do, and you don't have to cut everything cold turkey like I try to do sometimes. It's just not realistic anymore. But just to cut things.
You can do it in moderation.
Just to do things in moderation, which is what I do.
Turn the cameras off. All the cameras off.
I had 1 cookie for the week, and I replaced all my beverages with water. So
I want to know, you guys comment. We're not going to say. I'm just curious, by the looks of my woman, how much you guys think she weighs?
Yes, we
you
want to know
guys
that.
see her on her IG at ernestine.johnson. How much you think EJ weighs?
Give us a guess.
Give us a guess.
What do you think?
What is outside in opinion?
How much do you think Ernestine Johnson weighs? Y'all see these curves. How much you think I weigh?
All right, next. What's up?
What do they say? Well, you can't ask the question and then say next. What are they saying, Gene?
He would get it and let us know, or we would see it.
Says 135.
Oh, John Doe, get out of here. You're way off. You're not even... Okay, Helen Keller, you're not even looking at me, John Doe.
That was mean.
Says 155.
All right, 155 is a normal guess.
One sexy black says 130.
One
Good
sexy
Lord.
black. Maybe I don't know what y'all see on the gram, but maybe y'all are looking at a different angle.
I think people just look.
Jackson Realtor says 130.
I think people just look smaller on Instagram.
Maybe.
Because people think that I'm short and I'm tall, so maybe they just think that you're like this little short petite.
Ain't nothing petite about it. All right, so
I'm gonna tell y'all. Ain't none of y'all
we
close.
are back on to pulling it from the gram. What else do we have from the gram?
Oh, what we have?
Pull it from the gram. We have so we saw Tameka Mallory on the gram this week.
Yes. So I just saw. I mean, it was happening actually for over a week, but I just saw. I think yesterday, Sean King post that he wasn't denouncing Tameka Mallory. Tameka Mallory is an activist. She's a co-chair of the Women's March. She's just been an activist for 20 years, fighting for gun control, fighting for civil rights, human rights, equal rights.
Yep.
And so she was seen at the Nation of Islam's what's called Savior's Day, I think 2 Sundays ago.
Yep.
With Minister Louis Farrakhan, Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And so many of her Women's March followers and other, people who see her on the political platforms demanded that she denounce the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and she refused.
Which I commend her for.
Yep. And so she was losing support for many people, endorsements, etc. And I guess now Twitter has asked that her friends like Sean King and others, associates, denounce her for not denouncing the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And so Sean King posted yesterday, and Tameka reposted it, that he knew her before, he would no way denounce her, he sticks by her side, et cetera, et cetera. And so just what's your thoughts on that?
Which is what a friend should do. I have many thoughts on that. And I respect Tameka Mallory and I respect Sean King for taking his stance. A friend is a friend. I would question the same people who are Catholic to denounce the popes who have been accused of molesting children and all the things that they're entangled into. So are you going to denounce the Pope?
Right.
Are we going to?
So let's give it some context for some of our viewers. So the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is the leader, the head messenger of the Nation of Islam. The Nation of Islam is basically a black Muslim group here in the United States that believes in liberty and justice for black people. They've been very vocal on the historical context of our treatment by other races, particularly the Caucasian or white race. They've been very vocal about the participation of the Jewish community in some of our oppression as well. I've never heard them talk about hating anyone. There's never been an instance or case documented of them being violent towards anyone, whether it be a simple assault all the way to a murder or lynching or anything like that. So there's never been any kind of hate crime attached to the Nation of Islam, but their message has been strong. Some call it revolutionary, some call it radical. And so because of this strong message, they have tried to peg the anti-Semite title onto Minister Farrakhan and many others. If you guys know the Nation of Islam,
Anti-gay, anti-lesbian.
Yeah, the Nation of Islam has produced Muhammad Ali. It's produced the Minister Malcolm X. It's produced and it was led by and founded by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So, and amongst others who have been influential in our society. And so, because of these messages, where there are messages about his views on homosexuality and other principles, which even the church has.
Yeah, which even the church has, the Catholic Church, the Christian Church.
Et cetera. So people have tried to, force this kind of denouncement. And so to your point.
I think that if Tameka Mallory were any other race, as many are, and she had the same feelings, I think that I just don't like when people of color are ostracized and ridiculed for their stances or their opinions when white people,
hard to say.
I'm just going to say it. It's not even people, but no, it's white people. When they may have the same or similar stance on things and they're never ridiculed, they're never ostracized. And I don't like when we ostracize people of color for having opinions and standing their ground. And I support.
Sorry.
I support.
Show, so
I know, but wait, let me finish my thought.
Relax, though.
Jeez.
Okay,
go ahead.
Go. No, you go.
No, I don't want to say anything. I'm done.
No, go.
No, my thought's done now. I don't remember what I was saying.
You could remember it, but
no, go ahead.
That little attitude you just got right there is...
Go ahead. Finish.
Not going to cut it. So I was going to say that I won't say that white people in general aren't ridiculed at all, because I've known white people that have stood up for injustices and black injustices or any injustices, and they will get some pushback, but not to the degree or level that we often get pushback when we stand up for our own rights. But when a white or European American person sticks, their contribution into our equal rights fight, they may get, some pokes, but it's not like they're, totally pushed out the loop or denounced. So,
yep. Cool.
Also, on that subject a little bit from the gram is a post that you posted yesterday supporting women in Women's Month, right?
Yes.
And Ernestine had a post of several women pulling each other up, pushing each other up to get over this wall.
It was a really, really powerful post, too.
Yep, several women and the women were a diversity of colors, so to speak, skin tones. And a couple of the skin tones, one in particular, was an apparent white skin tone.
Yeah.
And so you got backlash from folks on your Instagram that said something about the white woman, they ain't gonna pull us up and all that kind of stuff. So
Yep.
out of several women all pulled this larger message about women helping each other and pulling each other, pushing each other up, people took to one person out of 7 or 8 women to say, why you got a white woman in your picture, they ain't gonna help us. And so what's your thoughts on that?
Yep. I honestly didn't even, the way my mind works, I didn't even key in or zone in on the fact that there was one white woman with blonde hair in the photo, because for me the bigger picture of the photo was, this is what getting information looks like. When ladies get into information and we help each other, and we lift each other up, and we link up and we collaborate, we get over the fence and we get over the gate. And that was the larger picture. So for people to think so minute and so micro, so they would pick out the one white lady or the 2 white ladies who were, or people, or ladies of non-color. To me, I was just like, this is so ridiculous. This is how micro and people think. And just for you to pick out such a minute subject in the larger, grander scale of the picture, I was just like, you know what? People, they talked about Jesus, so they're going to definitely talk about me. They're going to talk about anybody who has an opinion. I mean, that just comes with the territory. So.
Yeah. Not to mention that, well, on a silly.
And I did write on my caption. I quoted Malcolm X, who is a really big subject of ridicule, and he was very ostracized, and as you pointed out to me, in his latter years in Oxford.
Oxford Union, London, England.
Yeah, he said that he will join with anybody, no matter what color, as long as they are want to see changes in this miserable state that the world is in.
Yep.
So, and that's how I feel.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so funny, like when I was saying on a sillier note, that one lighter skinned or white woman could have been an albino black woman.
Yeah, could have.
How do you even know, right? So, secondly, as you pointed, to those who follow us, and I think most people in most communities are pro their community, right? Like,
absolutely.
There's not many Italians I know that aren't like, pro, being Italian. And so, just because we are pro-African or pro-black, they call it, does not mean we're anyone.
Anything else.
And if you look at, we talked about Malcolm X and his evolution. Malcolm was speaking to crowds of Europeans and aligning with other people who wanted to end injustice, period. When you look at Fred Hampton, I mean, these are some of our top revolutionaries. So I'm not even going to argue with you about it. I'm just quoting and referencing our leaders. Even Marcus Garvey, the Honorable Marcus Garvey, and I've read his book, a robust book, The Philosophies of Marcus Garvey, talked about his views on white and Jewish people, saying, don't be mad at them. They did what they were supposed to do for their race. Yep. Why are you mad at them for doing what they're supposed to do for their people? You focus on doing what you got to do for your people. And if you looked at Fred Hampton, the 21-year-old Black Panther leader who was assassinated in Chicago, Fred Hampton held events and mock trials with white people and in collaboration, saying, hey, it's this capitalist society, it is the 1% or the top 10%, the super rich, who are dividing us by color and having oppressed people battle each other, so we're not focused on those who are keeping us oppressed. And even Fred Hampton, the Black Panther leader, was in collaboration with white freedom fighters who were about justice, or just white people in general who were not bigots and were about justice. So read and reference our leaders and before
it's like
you make your opinions.
I always say to me, and I've always said this, even when I met you, it's not a race war, it's a wealth war. It's the rich against the poor, it's the oppressed against the oppressor. So it's not necessarily, people always want to make it a black and white thing or a race thing, and it's like, really, if you really look at it in the grand scope of things, it's a wealth war. It's the 1%, the 10% against everybody else. It's the oppressed against the oppressor.
Yes, for most cases it is, yep. So what we got next?
Yep, and that's it. Pull it from the gram. Oh, you know what? I also wanted to talk about...
quotes too.
I'm sorry?
Quotes too.
That's the it.
Okay.
I wanted to talk about gun control.
Okay, yes ma'am.
So it's only the 3rd month into the year, and we've already had 14 school shootings, and it's not even the end. It's not even the end of March. We've had 14 school shootings in the U.S. and we're not even done with the first quarter of the year.
That's crazy.
And I read a meme. It said, when there is a car accident, when someone's driving drunk, we blame the driver. And it said, when someone, God, I can't remember. It was like, when someone's driving drunk, we blame the driver. When someone stabs someone, we blame the stabber. Oh, when someone shoots someone, we blame the gun. Well, and I was like, wow, that's a really interesting perspective, because I know gun control and gun violence has been a really big topic of discussion,
Right.
Especially like the last, well, really not even last year, but like always.
Right.
And I was thinking like, wow, is it the gun that's the problem, or is it the shooter that's the problem?
Well, I say it's the gun. And why I say that is because a gun is a unique machine, right? A car does what it does. And a knife is a tool that does what it does. But a gun is a unique machine that can spit, especially these semi-automatic and automatic weapons that can spit hundreds of rounds in a minute. That can cause a lot more damage than, you can see with a car. So a gun is meant to kill. A car is meant to drive. A knife is meant to cut. A gun is meant to kill. There's no other use of a gun other than to kill a person or an animal.
Right.
And so that's where it comes. So you have a machine made to kill. You have to look at the overuse of that machine. And when it comes to hunting, when it comes to I believe in self-defense. I believe we all should legally own guns and be able to defend ourselves. But does not even average person, does any person really, outside of some kind of military action, need a 100-round machine gun, in their home? And,
I don't believe so.
And the proof of that is, and where you saw it even in history, was in California, when black people, Africans in America, started to aggressively bear arms under the Black Panther movement and other movements, and they would carry their guns openly and go out into public. They quickly passed a law to ban the public carrying of firearms. And part of the reason why there's so many biased policies that quickly put felonies and charges on black men is so that we have these marks that disallow us to carry firearms. But I guarantee you, if all the eligible black men and women went out and bought these semi-automatic and automatic weapons and went and bought handguns, you would quickly see the NRA and others try to pass some kind of trickery or law.
Yeah, of course. I mean, historically we've seen that's what they've done.
Yep.
And speaking of these school shootings, these young boys who are shooting up schools, like we just saw in Parkland, Florida, and even Columbine and Virginia Tech, these guns were purchased legally with a background check.
Yeah.
So to me, I'm like, okay, so the gun control is an issue. What kind of boundaries are we putting on these people who are buying guns? And why does a 17-year-old, 18-year-old, what does an 18-year-old need a gun?
Yeah, I mean, again, I believe in a self-protection point in a responsibility state, but it's crazy you got to be 21 to buy alcohol, but you can have a gun at 18.
At 18.
Right, and other things. But even past the political points and social points, I personally say, and we talked about this, and I know you feel the same way, my thoughts, prayers, and condolences go out to all the families who have lost lives through all the gun violence, not just in the school shootings, but in the inner city shootings and the suburban shootings and everywhere else. But especially in these mass shooting environments, we try to, and I don't even really like to imagine, having two daughters and one daughter in college and one daughter who's in elementary school, the trauma that these children felt. Like, we don't really put ourselves in those shoes, right? We see it on the news, just like a lot of the police brutality cases. Many times, until it hits home or close to home, we don't really lend our empathy or our emotion to it. But imagining 7, 8, 9-year-olds, 13-year-olds, whatever age, imagine hearing them boom, boom, boom. It's like, we've been to the gun range, and you've heard those big loud booms, and was
I
like,
walked in the gun range and I was scared.
Right. So imagine what a 9-year-old child, 10-year-old child, felt out of a quiet schoolroom when you're hearing these loud booms repeatedly and people screaming and hollering. Not to be too graphic, but just saying, my heart goes out to the survivors and their trauma, and certainly to the victims and who were injured or murdered. And so that's where it really gets real. We have to understand this is a real issue.
Yeah, because like you said, it lives beyond just the shooting in that day. It's the trauma, it's the what it does to the child or the person psychologically moving forward after witnessing something like that,
and the families.
Or being a part of something like that. So it's like, it's a psychological thing that has to be dealt with as well. Like, how do you move on from that mentally? How do you find balance again? So, I definitely suggest that there should be some type of places and orders where there's counseling for these people. Because I can imagine watching someone die in front of me, or watching a classmate die in front of me, or a kid in my neighborhood, in my community, and then having to still live life and go to work the next day and go to school the next day.
What's interesting is that it was reported, I haven't verified it, but during the Columbine shooting, after the Columbine shooting, it was said they brought a helicopter in to take out the children who were, not the victims, but the children who witnessed it, and they took them to immediate psychotherapy.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And that was something I heard about when we were talking about, we were having a conversation about the trauma that our people have suffered over these last centuries, these last 450 years, saying how that this racial terrorism we suffered caused us real trauma. And they were saying how if that kind of trauma is not real, they wouldn't have expeditiously taken those children and taken them to psychotherapy. And so when people are going through kind of violent circumstances, it does have a long-lasting effect on their psyche. So
yeah, absolutely,
it's very important.
So we definitely want to send love and prayers and blessings to everyone who's been affected in the most recent shootings and everywhere. So I am going to end with.
What about what's new?
Oh, what is new?
Yeah, before you end, tell me what's new in the world of Ernestine.
What's new in the world of EJ?
EM.
I can't even think of what's new right now. What's new? What's new? What's new? What's new? What is this? What is this week? This is the week of. I don't know what's new.
Something's new. You do too much. What's new?
I know. What is new?
Well, tell them what's old but still kind of new.
My book.
Your book is
my
still
book,
new.
Virally Speaking, is very still new. My book, Virally Speaking, it's a compilation of all my most viral works, all my most viral poetry. So that is new. I am a new author.
Yes. Congratulations to the author world.
Welcome. Thank you. What's new with you, Jay?
New for me. Well, we are looking. I don't want to give the date just yet, but we are looking to announce our first project for the Tulsa Real Estate Fund, which you are a partner of, my partner and partner.
Yep.
So Tulsa Real Estate Fund is a $50 million real estate crowd fund that allows all of you all to invest with us and other influencers, celebrities, and just as a community, invest together. And your only commitment is a minimum of a $500 investment and a maximum of a $50 million investment. So for y'all got the big bag, you're welcome. But it allows us to invest together as a community, not as a GoFundMe, but as a partnership, as equity partners and owners in major legacy and anchor assets. And so we're looking to announce our first Tulsa Real Estate Fund project in mid-April. And we're eyeing some creative projects I won't announce, but definitely one in downtown Atlanta, which will give everyone a chance to own a piece of downtown ATL together. And each investor gets an 8% preferred return and your prorated share of 50% of the profits.
Nice.
So we can own and profit together and own some of downtown Atlanta or wherever we buy together. So you guys can open your free Tulsa Real Estate Fund account, right? Open your free investors account at Tulsa, Tulsa, realestatefund.com. TulsaRealEstateFund.com. Yeah, so that's what's new. We're ready to pop off with Tulsa.
Sounds good. Sounds nice.
All right. So what's your quote for the
you go
ending?
first, because I have a few quotes, and I'm trying to figure out which one I want to do for the day. So you can go first.
Okay, I'll go first on the quote. Again, just a reminder to everyone. You know what's kind of new for me also is I brought a brand strategist into our company this week, and Ernestine was there, and we were working through the different entities under our brand, and particularly my brand message, being that I do so much as a CEO, businessman, activist, community organizer, real estate developer, etc. And one thing I laid out yesterday, I just want to make clear to you all, is that there's layers to my purpose, and it's all my calling from God and how He wants to use me on my time here on earth. And those layers are 3 layers I defined. One being being an opportunity and the chief opportunity officer and a hope dealer for all people, right? Using my life story, my testimony, all the adversity I faced to offer opportunity for and to everyone, right? So that's one thing. Then, since all people, right, is part of my purpose. Then the drill down of that is doing it for our people, meaning our community, right? Being a hope dealer, being the chief opportunity officer for our community, showing everyone that there is opportunity if you apply the right strategies, have the right mindset, et cetera, et cetera. So there's the chief opportunity officer for all people, using my testimony on a global level. There's a chief opportunity officer and hope dealer for our people. And then there's me, the drill down of this triangle, is me being the chief opportunity officer and hope dealer for my people. And now when I say my people, I'm talking about my fraternity. So we're all broken up into kind of cliques, like actors and actresses, like that's your world, like, right? Like those are people who are part of your fraternity. Some of you who went to college have a fraternity, or you're Masons, or you're this, or you're that. So for me, my fraternity are people that have come from the streets, right? And I don't over belabor that point, but it's who I feel a strong affinity for. People, I spent, 10 years of my life I spent on street corners or on highways or in prison and those kind of environments. And there's only a certain group of people that can really relate to those circumstances, who know what a hookup is, who know what chow's up is, who knows the, ills of the block and everything. So that particular fraternity or community is also who I'm directly called to be an inspiration for and a hope dealer for, is those who have went through the trap, we call it, the block, the corner, the streets, or prison, or coming home from prison, being a real beacon of hope for those people. And so that was kind of new and profound for me, just to really kind of drill down on my personal brand and using my school, the J. Morrison Academy, as a vehicle to not just give you hope and opportunity and inspiration, but as a vehicle to how do you take advantage of that opportunity. Using the Tulsa Real Estate Fund as a vehicle to take advantage of opportunity. Using our easy funding, business funding that we offer as a vehicle for you to get funding with no cash, no credit, no bank statements, right? To be able to put money into your pocket. And so everything that I do and all my businesses that I run are all businesses that are called socially impactful, or businesses that operate in the heart of social good. And I'm a social entrepreneur. And so just wanted to lend all you guys that so you know who I am trying to reach. And if you know people that fall in those categories, please tell them to follow me at Mr. J. Morrison on Instagram, or go to our site, jmorrisonacademy.com or tulsarealestatefund.com. And for those of you who we often talk about our business funding and that, we lend up to $250,000 to folks with no documents, basically, right? As long as you have a certain credit score. Or have a low credit score and get your credit repaired through us or someone else and get to that credit point. But outside of the big numbers like $250,000 or $50,000, I understand that, humbling myself, I remember when $10,000 was all the money in the world, and $20,000 was all the money in the world. So even if you're not someone who will qualify for $250,000, even if we can help you get an extra $22,000, extra $18,000, we want you to take a look at our easy funding, and you can find that at jmorrisonacademy.com as well, just as an opportunity to get you extra capital for the dreams and opportunities in which you hope to accomplish. So that's my wrap up. And now to my quote, which ties into all that. So my quote is a quote question, and that is, I use this often for a lot of my students and proteges. That quote is, if you know the smart thing to do and you don't do it, what does that make you? And so I'll leave you with that. If you know something is the smart thing to do, like if you know this opportunity, this class, this lecture, this mentor, this whatever, these eating habits, if you know it's the smart thing to do, like it's smart. If you know it's a smart thing to do, but you choose not to do it, what does that make you? And so I'll leave you with that.
Awesome. And I'm going to leave you with the quotes. And you can also follow me on Instagram, ernestine.johnson, and keep up with me on my website, ernestine.johnson.com. And I'm going to leave you with a quote from Rumi. It says, "The wound is where the light enters." And I'm going to leave you with that.
Nice. Wrinkle.
Yep.
All right, guys. This is Jay and
EJ Live.